Hi everyone, today I'm going to do a glass skin makeup tutorial. I'm going to talk more about that while I'm actually doing the tutorial. I don't want to do a long introduction, but I think it's a good day to do this look today, which is a very light makeup look and also very healthy looking and brings a lot of luminosity to the skin, because I did go out last night. I went to the Harper's Bazaar Women of the Year, which was really fun. I did Keira Knightley's makeup before I went, so I then went home and got myself ready and went to the event as well. And I was going to say I'll link to a picture. I haven't put a picture of her yet on my Instagram, but I'm going to after I film this. So, and then when I did get home, I got home late, but then I decided to watch the final of the Great British Bake Off because I'd missed it. It was earlier on in the evening. So I decided at 1 a.m. that I really needed to see the final because I didn't want to find out today who'd won before I saw it. So what I'm saying is I had a very late night and I did squeeze some blackheads and things this morning. So bear with me if I'm looking a bit rough. It's because I'm tired, really. So this is the perfect thing to do today because a lot of it is about skincare, and as we all know now, which is well documented, Korean looks are all about lots of skin prep and then quite light skin looks. So I'm going to start with, because I haven't really done anything to my face yet today, I am going to do 5 minutes on my NuFace, which I know you've seen me do before. I don't have any aloe vera gel, but I do have an aloe vera face gel mask. This is aloe vera and calendula, and I just put this in the fridge so it's cold. I'm going to do 5 minutes with this, with my NuFace. And then I'm going to do some more skincare because often with these Korean looks, it's so much about skin prep. I'm going to do my version. I'm not going to do the exact version that lots of you see on lots of Korean blogs and things. I'm going to do what I would consider to be an extended skin prep. So the next thing I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this, this is not what this tutorial is about. I am just doing excessive skincare because the whole point about the Korean glass skin look is that you use as little makeup as possible. So you do as much prep as possible, so skincare prep, whatever it is that makes your skin look good, whether that might just be exfoliation, whether that just is some extra moisturizing, whether it's doing which is very common in Korea, to do a sheet mask before you do your makeup and layer your serums and layer your creams as they do very much there, or whether for you that would just be giving your face a cleanse and applying your moisturizer. That's also fine, but I'm just showing you little fun things that I've got at the moment. And this is the Foreo, I don't even know how to say that. This is the new UFO mask that they have, which is a little machine which does, I think it's, the whole thing is 5 minutes, and I've only been doing this for the last couple of days, so I have no idea if it's good or not, but what it does, oh, it feels heavenly. It you put your sheet mask in here, you get a packet of sheet masks, so you put them in. The sheet masks have things like hyaluronic acid, and then the actual machine does various things. So it's doing heat therapy, which is what I'm feeling now. This feels really, really warm. Oh, that feels so good. And you just rub the mask over your skin. The next thing that's going to come up, now we've got the sonic pulses. So this is a transdermal sonic pulsation. And I've still got the heat as well. This is really, really warm on my face. And there's also LED light. There's red, green and blue. So red is for anti-aging because that's the thing that helps collagen production. Green is good for brightening and pigmentation. And the blue light is good for breakouts, especially where I've just squeezed all those open pores on my chin area. There is an app for this and I haven't downloaded it, as I think I might, I haven't actually properly read if there's a way to massage this. I just do what feels good. And this is quite a short program, and I don't believe you have to do this every day. I just think it's quite a fun thing to do, and I just was very, very intrigued by it when I saw it. Okay, now it's going cold. Now I'm on the cold phase. Oh, now the yeah, now it's dying down. Now it's stopped. So next thing I'm going to do is apply moisturiser. I'm just going to put moisturiser on and nothing else, but if you wanted to use serum and then moisturiser, it's really about just using whatever it is that's going to make your skin, whether it's just a massage or whether it's particular products or particular treatments, that will require less makeup, because it's about kind of, this look is really about creating a skin which looks very translucent, like glass. So it has a little bit of coverage, but there's a translucency that you're kind of seeing through the skin. So glass skin, what is it? It's a trend that's been talked about for months, and the reason I hadn't really addressed it is because when I was in Korea and talking about Korea a lot in 2014-15, when it became sort of the epicenter of everything beauty and the whole world was looking at Korea, it's not really like that anymore. And of course it has an amazing place in world beauty and it has its unique style, but I think the hysteria over the whole Korean thing has definitely passed. And while I was in Korea back then and making videos about it, there was, what I loved about it was the care and attention taken in skin prep, which is not for everyone because there's so many steps, but also the care and attention taken to the skin and how the skin looks, and all the different words they had for describing their skin. I remember talking to girls in shops and makeup shops about how they wanted their skin to look, and there was lots of discussion about luminosity, wet shine, demi-wet shine, glowing shine, glass skin, translucent skin. So there was all of these lovely words being used, and it really was very specialist in that way. So the fact that there is now a new hyped word, which is glass skin, is really quite similar to what it was really then, but it's still about not over powdering the skin, not having heavy coverage, or certainly not in all areas. I mean, it's very in keeping with how I like skin to look anyway, but it's slightly pushed in terms of the glossiness and the translucence. What is nice about it is that you can adapt it to suit your skin, even if it's oily and you don't want to add ugly shine. But you can also use it if you do have blemishes as well. You can adapt this style to suit. It depends on what kind of products you use. And I will say that you have already got all of these products at home, or versions of them. So it's not something that's, oh, this is a new trend that you need all these new products for. It really isn't. I mean, it's actually a look that I was doing when I first started my makeup career. It's about using cream products and liquids and highlighters and creating that beautiful, seamless gorgeousness. So I've been doing it for 20 years. So when we say it's a new trend, it really isn't. It's just that things get given new names, and it's nice to re-explore them anyway. So I'm going to start with skin. So of course I prepped my skin, so it's very, very, very well moisturised. I'm very hydrated. Obviously I'm quite shiny now, but that's fine because we can adapt it. The kind of products I would use on myself as somebody with more of a combination skin and with nothing too dramatic to cover, although I do have redness and pigmentation, I would either use something lightish like a Vitalumière Aqua, which I would use just in certain areas, particularly because that dries to more of a velvety finish, which would suit my particular skin more. You're just aiming for this glowing, glossy skin, but in a very attractive way. Also things like highlighters, so liquid highlighters are really good. Something like this I couldn't use all over my face, which is an all over highlighter, because I would just look oily and overly shiny. But if you've got very dry skin, you may find that just adding a drop of this to your current moisturiser really helps to give you that glassy, luminous translucence. The other thing you see a lot of at the moment are these hybrid products. So they are products which are a mixture between foundation and highlighter. And of course you can adapt your foundations with your highlighter yourself if you want to be totally DIY. But something like the Hollywood Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, which is a highlighter with coverage, so it comes in these different shades, or the Duo Stick, the Expert Duo Stick, which is one side the Nude foundation stick, so this is it's a medium coverage foundation stick, and the other side has a highlighter, and again this comes in about 10 different colorways. So how you're using them and how much of them you use on your face will depend on how naturally oily you are. The other thing I'm going to do is, because I am a bit oilier, I'm going to use a pore perfector. So this is a slightly more mattifying product now, but I'm not going to use it everywhere, and this would really only be applicable to you if you have bigger pores, or you're just somebody that has areas that you don't want to really emphasize the shine. But if I put this on now, I'll be able to get away with using less powder in my T-zone, which is really what this glass skin trend is all about. It's about avoiding visible powdery makeup that's sort of almost sitting on the skin. So this is just going to knock back the shine a little bit, particularly once that sets. The more sort of a facial you give yourself while you're doing this makeup look, the better the end result will be. Not just because you're blending, but you're stimulating the skin, you're making the skin look better as you're going along. It's like sort of makeup mixed with a facial. So I'm going to start with a liquid highlighter, which I'm going to use one which is a little bit lighter than my skin tone to get this sort of opalescent look on my skin. So I'm going to use it underneath foundation so I can blend it into the foundation, so it might look a little bit stark at the moment. This is also one which sets, so it does have some silicone in it. It's going to set on my skin, and it's quite long lasting. So you can see that's giving that glassy look. And obviously adapt the colour of this to suit your skin tone. If you have a darker skin, use a warmer tone and a richer tone. But bear in mind that you are going for this slightly pearlescent look on the skin. So the only other place I'm going to use it just above my eyebrows. So I'm not going to use it in the centre there. I find that when it comes to highlight, there's not too many areas that it looks good on me. Tops of the cheekbones and coming onto the cheeks, definitely the best place for most people. A little bit on the top lip. So onto foundation, and I'm using the Vitalumière Aqua. I'm using a clean brush because I don't want to apply it with the highlighter on the brush. Just because for my skin type, I'm better off not having the highlighter all over my face. Now, if you do have a dry skin or a very dull skin that you really feel that adding the highlighter all over the face is going to work for you, whether it's just a couple of drops in your moisturizer, or even if you want to add a couple of drops to your foundation, then go ahead. I mean, if that works for you and that looks good, then that's even better for creating this glassy skin look, because you're going to have it all over your face, which is going to be perfect. But that just won't work for me. So mainly just applying it around the center of my face. I'm not going to do any concealing yet. Just going to, for now, just do a really light layer. And I think the main thing is, because we don't want to have a powdered finish, you shouldn't use one of those really flat matte, you know, there's sort of really flat matte foundations, especially the sort of opaque ones. They just kill this look. If you are a little bit oily like me, using something which has definitely more of a velvety finish but a little bit of radiance with it is just so much better for this type of makeup. So next I'm going to use some under eye concealer. I'm going to go with one which is a little creamier, still good coverage, but it's not got that really matte flat finish, just to lift the shadows. And that's another important aspect of this look. It's about lifting those shadows and having the luminosity and the brightness to the face. Just going to gently buff in. I'm not doing crazy amounts of this, although I do need more than usual today. Look, my eyes look tired. I actually need some eye drops. I think I might have to get some eye drops. That'll serve me right for staying up late. So I'm also going to apply some concealer just around my nose. And I've also applied it onto these little, they're not really spots, they're just where I did some squeezing. But I'm going to really diffuse the edges there. So that is just, there's just seamless cover, but you can't really see where it's heavier, where it's thinner, what product I've used. You're just getting this optical illusion of this glassy, slightly opalescent, translucent skin. So before I do any little pinpoint concealing, I'm actually going to go on to blush. I'm going to use a liquid blush, and this one doesn't have any luminosity in it, but I'm going to mix it with a touch of the highlighter that I used. This particular blush that I'm using is so pigmented, I don't even need, that's too much, actually, way too much. So I'm going to use the tiniest amount. And the reason this is good for me is because it does give you that liquidy look on the skin, but it's also one which sets, so it's long lasting and works well for oilier skins as well, like mine. So I'm just going to start to blend the colour. I'm going to keep going with the brush as well, so we get seamless layers. And when I've finished, I'll be able to go back in and just conceal any blemishes or pigmentation right at the end. Now, a lot of the time Korean girls don't wear a lot of blush, but I personally like it. And if I'm going to do this glassy look and this luminescent look, I feel I need the colour. I mean, lots of Korean girls do wear blush, but I'm just saying that it's not necessarily a huge trend there. But I would not be able to get away with this look myself without some blush. So again, just diffusing those edges. And I'm building up really slowly. And this is a great tip if you're ever using any kind of cream or liquid blush, particularly liquids, because you never quite know how much pigment you're going to get from the get-go. Obviously try it out on the back of your hands, but even then you just don't understand how it's going to transfer until it's on the face. And if you build up slowly, you can really just have these thin layers and you just feel everything is melting in together. So that first layer of really opalescent highlight that I used, then the little bit of foundation and the concealer that I've just used is all becoming one delicious glassy surface. Okay, so now pinpoint concealing. This is really a crucial part, and depending on how your skin is will depend on how much of this you're going to need. Now, a lot of it should be diffused because you've got the highlighter, you've also got your foundation on, and anything that's left standing should now be obliterated by the a tiny brush and some concealer. I'm going back in with the Radient Touch Concealer because again I'm just staying with this, everything's got a radiant finish and a glowy finish. But don't worry, I'm going to powder at some point, but I'm going to be clever about it. So I'm just going to spend my time now just concealing those small bits of redness or anything. I'm using a really magnifying mirror just so I can catch everything. So for powdering, I'm going to have to be really clever because I don't want to look powdered, but I obviously need powder. The first place I'm going to need powder is under my eyes, which is split. I've got some creasing there because I've used a creamy Radient, more of a creamy style of concealer, which is great. But let me just smooth those creases out. So what I'm going to do is use a tiny bit of loose powder, normal loose powder to start with, just to set the under eye area. Just not going crazy with the powder in there, just enough to set and stop any crazy creasing. I'm also going to use the same type of powder, that sort of powder, if I've done any concealing. So it's just mainly there where I've used the concealer and there. But then for the majority of my powdering, I'm going to use a clear powder. I'm going to use one of these gel powders. I don't know if you know these. It's a mixture of silica and silicone, and it looks like glass actually, which is perfectly fitting for this tutorial. And it creates an almost waxy powder which is solid. And then you can pat it on your skin, you can use it with a brush, you can use it with a sponge. So I'm going to use a flat synthetic brush for this. And this is the Ray Morris one, just going to go in and out. And then just flatten and set. So you can see it's just taking the shine off, but you're not left with the appearance of powder on the skin. A funny thing about this technology, years ago when I was first the creative director of Boots here in the UK, and I had been in Japan and I'd bought some of this technology, this waxy dimethicone and silica powder, and I remember saying, oh, let's do one of these for the range. And I spoke to the labs and everything, and because there's no water in it, it's super expensive. It's anhydrous, there's no water in it at all. And I hadn't realised how expensive back then it was to create. It was quite a hard formulation to create. So they basically said, no, you can't do it. It's so expensive. But now you see it a lot more. It's becoming a lot more mainstream. It's still an expensive technology, but it's certainly not what it was. So I'm mattified. So now that that's set in, you can see that it's just given me, I'm going to look in a really close-up mirror. Yeah, it just looks like everything is smoothed out. It slightly fills in pores, that powder as well. And I still have all of that lovely glassy opalescent shine, which I'm even going to add a touch more of that right at the end. So I'm going to go on to eyes. I think I'm just going to go back in with this highlighter actually. I mean, a very traditional Korean look would be not too much eyeshadow and just eyeliner. So I'm going to go back in with the highlighter and just put that onto the lid and blend out. So I've just got a slightly wet looking shine on my eyelids. Just with the luminosity, just with the pearl. It's not too metallic, it's quite nice. Next I'm going to use a pencil. I'm going to use a pencil because it's quite a thing in Korea just to have a penciled eye, particularly through your upper lash line. So I'm almost going to go in from underneath and pencil the underside. Not the whole of the upper waterline, just the lash line. And this colour, I love this colour. It looks like a deep blacky colour, greyish, but it has blue pearl in it. It's like a navy blue with blue pearl. So you can see I'm just defining a little bit under that lash line, just in the roots. And then I'm going to curl my eyelashes and put plenty of mascara on. I love the colour of this pencil. It's just less harsh than black, but it's also really nice on brown eyes because of the blue pearl. And plenty of black mascara. really into those roots. I'm going to make sure that all of the eyelashes are separated, which feels more glass skin to me, rather than a really thick kind of vampy lash. So on to lips, and in good Korean style, I'm going to do lots of layers, multi-layers. I'm going to start with this lip primer. As you can see, it's got pearl in it, pink pearl. So it's very glowy. Put that all over my lips. And then while that is setting, actually I'm also going to put one dot of what I had on my cheeks. If I can find it. Yes, it's there. I mean, not even one dot, because it's going to be too much colour. Just pat it off. So I've got a nice glowy layer of colour. Next I'm going to use a lip pencil, of course, because I like my full lips. And then on top of that, I'm going to use a layer of lip oil. This is the Clarins lip oil. I love the applicator of this. It feels so nice. So I'm going to have a lovely glassy, radiant lip. I'm going to put too much on. Let's blend that in. And then for finishing touches, there's a few that I would do. One thing is I would add a touch more, because it's got quite a cold look now with all the colours I've used. I'm going to add this highlighter, which is almost like a molten silver. I think I could add a touch of this at the inner corner. Not much, but just to keep that real glassy feeling going. And I mean, it is not... Glass skin is just about glass skin. Believe me, you can put it with red lips, with smoky eyes, with blue eyes, whatever you want. I'm just kind of trying to do a look here which almost emphasises the look of the skin. So I'm not saying that if you do glass skin, you have to do a glassy looking makeup. You really don't. It's not the point. But I think it's quite fun for today to keep it in this glassy world. One thing I'm going to add, which is just for me, is a little bit, because I'm looking very hooded on the eyes today, I'm going to add a little bit of eyeshadow in my socket line. Not a lot, but just, I need it. Just a touch in there. That's better. That was really just to add a shadow there. And then I think I might also add one more touch of the highlighter. Just to the top of the cheeks. I'm going to be careful not to disturb any of my other work that I've done. I'm going to just keep that really there. So hopefully you get that really nice, shiny, glossy look. And then as a final touch, I am going to just spray. I'll just tie my hair back so you can see more skin. Some hydrating spray. I don't want this to go on my eyes, just on my skin. So that's the finished look. That's a very glowy, glassy skin effect, and the products I've used suit me personally, more of a combination skin, because all of these products aren't very oily or creamy, so they are going to stay put. But obviously you can adapt the products to suit your skin, and also you can adapt what you've got at home. You can add luminosity into foundations, luminosity into moisturizers. If you have some reasonably good highlighters, you can DIY and mix and match all of the products yourself. And as I said earlier, you can, this Korean glassy skin trend, you can really put it with any other type of makeup. So you could do a really strong smoky eye or whatever you want to wear. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you soon.